Nokia phones have a very special place in my heart, and that is because of the nostalgia attached with it. But these days, Nokia phones have a different image altogether. Rather than being known for their sturdy build quality and pure Android experience, they are known to be under-specced and overpriced. And looking at the competition the Chinese manufacturers have put up, Nokia phones seem less and less compelling. Recently, Nokia launched the Nokia 7.2 in many places, and the price is a tad bit on the higher side in the European market and other Western markets. However, here in Nepal, it's priced pretty competitively. But can the Nokia 7.2 compete against the Redmis and Realmes? Let's find out. Starting off, let's talk about the design, which is what Nokia is good at. The Nokia 7.2 is built with a high-tech polymer composite material, which the company claims is twice as strong as a regular polycarbonate, yet half the weight of aluminium. With a metal frame and a glass back, the phone is quite slippery, so I'd strongly advise pairing it with a case. Nonetheless, holding the phone feels super premium with its curved finish. The back also holds the triple-wide camera, the LED flash in a circular module, and the fingerprint sensor, which I'll get to in more detail later in the review. On the right, you have the volume rockers and the power button. Interestingly, the LED notification has been moved to the side of the device on the power button. Though definitely unique, I found it to be counterproductive because you cannot see the glow when you lay your phone down like this. On the left, you get the dedicated Google Assistant button and the SIM tray, which can house 2 nano SIM cards alongside a micro SD card slot. You can remap the Assistant button to trigger a different action via a third-party app, though an inbuilt option would have been even better. The 3.5mm headphone jack lives there at the top, next to the secondary microphone. Similarly, there's the standard USB Type-C port on the bottom, as well as the primary microphone and the single-firing speaker. The audio output is decently loud, however, I found my fingers blocking the speaker grill on my gaming sessions. Moving on, it has a 6.3 inches pure display IPS LCD panel with a full HD Plus resolution. There's a teardrop notch for selfie camera and a significantly large chin with the Nokia branding. The side bezels are minimal but noticeable regardless. For an LCD panel, the Nokia 7.2's display is admirable to say at the least. I found it to be sufficiently bright even when I was outdoors, and the color accuracy and contrast were good as well. There is something called dynamic mode that adjusts the phone display according to the type of app you're using, so that's something new. Weirdly enough, when I turned the pure display on to watch some HDR videos on YouTube, I found that the phone's quick settings menu and the color scheme would start misbehaving. Its UI with dark theme would turn into even more washed out gray than usual, with clouds of white kind of flowing around the app. Turning the pure display off would take things back to normal. It's clear that Nokia still has some issues to fix. Onto the cameras, the Nokia 7.2 has a triple camera setup on the back with the coveted Zeiss branding. Here you can get a 48 megapixel primary lens with quad pixel binning, an 8 megapixel ultra wide angle sensor with 118 field of view, a 5 megapixel depth sensor, and the LED flash inside a circular module reminiscent of the long-lost Nokia Lumia 1020. Images from the normal lens are good, but nothing extraordinary. Though they tend to be on the warmer side, the photos preserve fine amount of detail with decent saturation. Similarly, sharpness and dynamic range are something I like about the Nokia 7.2 cameras as well. Comparing it with that of the Redmi Note 8 Pro, I found that the Nokia 7.2 had a better dynamic range, while the images from the Note 8 Pro were slightly washed out. The wide-angle camera, on the other hand, is a hit or a miss. Its photos look decent at a glance, but the color reproduction is distinctively inaccurate. The details aren't good either, with noticeable pixelation starting since the first pinch of zoom. The Note 8 Pro, however, had even worse detail preservation compared to the Nokia 7.2. Onto the portrait shots, the edge detection here does not work as well as you'd want to. It would sometimes majorly miss out on the subject's edges, especially on the top, thus resulting in a jarring bokeh. Coming to the front, we have the 20 megapixel camera, which embeds quad pixel binning as well. The selfies are depressingly lacking in color reproduction and don't look nice. Comparatively, the Note 8 Pro produces better selfies, though they feel slightly unnatural and reddish. Similarly, edge detection on the selfie portraits share a similar fate to the primary lens. It is flawed, and like with the regular selfies, the results are washed out. Note 8 Pro selfie portraits, on the other hand, are streets ahead than that of the Nokia 7.2. Moving on to the videos, the phone is capable of shooting 4K at 30 FPS. The stabilization at 1080p at 30 FPS is pretty good thanks to the gyro EIS. Color reproduction and audio capture are noteworthy too. However, focus is something the phone struggles on in terms of videography. Performance is where the compromises begin to hurt the Nokia 7.2. It packs a Snapdragon 660 chipset, which, if I remember correctly, was launched way back in the second quarter of 2017. Comparing it with other phones in a similar price range like the Redmi Note 8 Pro and the Realme X2 is enough to break your heart. Though the Snapdragon 660 is not an entirely incompetent SoC, it should be obvious by now that it should not be powering mid-range smartphones in 2019. And don't get me wrong, like I said before, it's a good chip, but it's not a good choice for the device as it shows. There are no frequent lags like maybe I'm making it out to be, but occasionally it's observable. Talking about gaming, I was only able to push COD's graphics quality to medium and the frame rate to high. Despite the negligible lags here and there, the overall gameplay was smooth. Similarly, PUBG set the graphics to medium by default on my Nokia 7.2. Here, I could push the graphics to HD and frame rate to high. Turning on anti-aliasing and shadows as well, there were no issues in the gameplay. The phone did get mildly warm, but there was no significant lag. On the other hand, Injustice 2 ran smooth like butter since it's comparatively less taxing on the CPU and the GPU. The details were fine and I had fun playing Injustice 2 on the phone. Multitasking wasn't much of a problem either. In fact, I was surprised by Nokia 7.2's memory management. It was able to keep multiple apps and games in memory and I could fluently switch in between them. By the way, the one I have has 4 GB of RAM. Another thing that I like about the Nokia 7.2 is its software. It is a part of the Android One program and it promises at least 2 years of system upgrades and 3 years of monthly security upgrades. The phone runs on Android Pie 9.0 and the stock Android without any bloatware apps was a refreshing experience. The animations and transitions were fluid, though I occasionally noticed some lags when opening certain apps or games. Also, I was hoping that I would get the Android 10 update since it has better navigation gestures, but I only got one security update in the days of my using. Battery-wise, Nokia has managed to pack an okay-ish 3500 mAh cell inside the Nokia 7.2. But although the Snapdragon 660 supports Quick Charge 4, this device does not support it and comes with a 10-watt charger inside the box. And trust me, this is not a 2-day battery phone as the company claims it to be. The battery does last you a single day on moderate usage. Charging speed, as you can expect, did not blow me away. It took me somewhere in the ballpark of 2 hours to juice up the phone from 0 to 100%. Talking about security, a fingerprint sensor is present on the back, which is definitely not the fastest one I have used, so there's that. Also, forget unlocking the phone when your hand is a little sweaty because the sensor wouldn't recognize my finger at such a situation. The software-based face unlock is not good either. It's just too slow. At most times, I'd use the fingerprint scanner and go for the good old patterns when troubles came unlocking. Okay, what else does this phone have? Yes, 3 months of Google One subscription. Valued at $99 a month, you get 100 GB of cloud storage across Google's suite of applications like Photos, Drive, etc. All in all, the Nokia 7.2 is a mixed bag of a smartphone. On one hand, the design and the stock Android experience is what you will cherish, and on the other hand, the price to performance ratio does not quite add up. Had Nokia gone with a better chipset and a fair pricing model, the Nokia 7.2 might have stood a chance in the mid-range market. So unless they drop their price by like $100, the Nokia 7.2 does not make sense. And Nokia has launched the Nokia 7.2 for $23,999 here in Nepal, which converts to some $200, which makes a lot of sense. So if you are from Nepal, the Nokia 7.2 is a fair deal. Everywhere else, the 7.2 is definitely overpriced. So that was our review of the Nokia 7.2. Do let us know what you think about this device in the comment section below. Also, do not forget to subscribe to our channel and like our videos. Till then, I'm Pratima Adhikari and thank you for watching.